Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's great to have you guys back on here today. I'm really excited. Happy New Year, by the way. I hope that this year is really blessed and everything that you want it to be. Welcome to your best year yet. Okay guys, so I have a little chit chat conversation. I just want to be open, honest, vulnerable and everything with you guys. I feel like you deserve it, okay? So I'm going to tell you a little story, a little story time thing. So in 2019, the summer of 2019 to be very specific, I had this very strong urge to create Christian content. I didn't really have any idea. I didn't really have any vision or anything of what I wanted to do. But I just knew that I wanted to put out Christian focused content, and I set out and I just did it. It's no plan, no nothing. I just was I feel like there is a population out there that I can reach with my videos, and I'll just be putting them out as time is going. I'll figure everything out. So I just went into it, right? Okay. So, and if you're an OG Ways and Wisdom follower, you know that I started it with my cousin.
We can't go on Instagram, or we can't, because I love Instagram. I just love Instagram, and girl, I'm all over it.
And then gradually just became me, okay? And so I just kept going through. So 2019, 2020. So in 2020, actually, the summer of 2020, I just felt very impressed to start YouTube.
Yes, we're going to YouTube.
So because originally I was just doing this on Instagram, and that was okay for me. But I just felt very led to start it on YouTube as well. So I was like, oh my god, YouTube, this is so nerve-wracking, because I don't even like this whole camera thing. It's very stressful. It's very out of my comfort zone. It's very out of my my style, the way I would do things. It's just very out of it's not my thing. So I was like, YouTube. I said, God, are you sure? But I was like, you know what, I feel like I heard God say, let's do YouTube. So I ventured into it. I stepped out and I said, okay, we're going to do YouTube. So we did YouTube, and we continued with regular stuff, releasing videos, putting out content here and there and stuff. But then in 2021, specifically February 27th, because I put it down in my journal, I started getting this impression in my heart to change the name of Wigs and Wisdom. I just feel like that era of Wigs and Wisdom was coming to an end. So I was actually on that impression that I was going to change the name sometime that year, maybe in a few months. So I kept pondering. Actually, my original plan was, because I think my original plan was to change it June 5th, which is the anniversary or the start of Wigs and Wisdom. So I wanted to actually change it that day and be okay, or whatever, but it never really happened, stuff like that. So it just kind of left. So I was like, okay, cool. I guess maybe I just thought this stuff up, or maybe it's not yet time. I just, kind of pushed it to the side type of thing. And that was that. And so fast forward to 2022. I think even at the start of 2022, I kept thinking oh, the name must change. The name is going to change. I really feel like that era of Wigs and Wisdom is coming to an end. I just feel like it wasn't really serving anymore. It just felt like the time was now to really change the name. So I kept thinking, what am I going to change the name to? Everything. Didn't really have any idea. Nothing was coming to me. I did have, in 2021, I did have a name, an idea. It was called The Father's Heart. But I just felt I don't know. It just was not doing it for me. So I was I don't know. So I just kind of left that as that, and I kept moving. But then towards the ending of 2022, which specifically around November, ending December, early December, I started getting that that impression again that okay, we need to actually change the name. So I said, okay, cool, we're going to change the name. It'll be new year, new me, whatnot. Okay. And so I was going to change the name and whatnot. So I started saying, okay, Lord, I had a goal. I wanted the name to be very creative. I wanted to be wow, how did you come up with that? And I'll be able to say go back to this part of the scripture. I took this, I put this together and everything. Boom. That was my goal. I was I need this thing to be very mind blowing. When somebody sees it, be wow, that is good. Like, I would have never thought about it. I'm like, yeah. That was my goal. I wanted it to be very, very creative, but I also wanted it to like point back to the Father, And I kept saying like, oh, like Chinito. I kept drawing blank. Like, my brain was just off. Nothing was coming. So I said, I don't even know what I'm going to do. I even went as far as like Googling like creative names to call your Christian blog and all that stuff. Google, they were just giving me very, like, in my opinion, I thought they were very basic, very generic names. I was not feeling any of those names too. So I said, God, maybe I know that I should change this name. Show me in a vision. Let me vision to this thing. Let me see it in a vision. So that I will know that it came from above, from the Father himself and everything. But that didn't happen. So I was like, okay. So I kept, I took pen and paper. I was like, okay, let it flow from my spirit. Let it, let my belly flow. Creative juices start flowing. So I picked up my Bible actually. And I said, you know what? I wanted to come from the Bible. So let me pick up my Bible. So I went back. I specifically chose Genesis, the book of Genesis, because I said, God has created, Genesis is the beginning. This is where God has created, man. Let me go back there. Maybe I will see something and that would lead me. So I went there and I picked up. I read Genesis 1, Genesis 2, Genesis 3. I read it, and I feel like we all know the creation. We all know the creation story and everything. So I read it. Read it the first time, nothing really stuck out. Read it the second time, nothing really stuck out. Third time, nothing really stuck out, because I feel like what I'm saying. Like, I know the story. So nothing seemed like out of the moon. Like, get. So I was like, what's going on? Like, nothing is sticking out to me. Now, I now went back to Genesis 1:26. I'm going to read it for you in NLT version, or 27, verse 27 actually. It says, so God created human beings in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. So I feel like I read it. I know this verse. I know it. You know it. So I was like, okay, cool stuff now. And at that time, okay, I was saying to myself, okay, cool. This verse was just really sticking out to me. Like, God had created me in his image. And God, in this image that we're seeing of God, right, from this book of Genesis, just what we're seeing is a creating God. A God that creates. He spoke and things happened. He was creating things. So I said, okay, wow. So if he has created me in his image, that means I have a creative ability inside of me. I said, okay, cool. And mind you, like I said, this is not like new revelation. Like, oh, I just studied this, my mind just blew. No, we've known this. Like, yes, every believer or every human actually has a creative side to them. So I said, okay, yeah, I'm like, a co-creator with Christ and everything. So this is nothing new, Okay, great. Now, let me pause this story right there and take you back a little bit. Wow. So I don't even know. I can't really like pinpoint when this started, but I've been having this like internal battle, and it's a battle with probably myself, between God and everything that I know. But one thing about me is that I feel like everything that God has and continually calls me into are things that I'm scared to naturally like gravitate into towards. What do I mean? I'm a very introverted to myself person, but I feel like everything that God calls me into is the complete opposite of who I am. And I'm like, why this? Why all of this? Can't I just be who I am? Like, there's so many extroverts out in the world. Draw them out. Let them do this job for you. So just, internal battle. So this internal battle is really like, if you've been really watching like Wigs and Wisdom for a while now, you can really tell that like the videos are very, no offense to myself, but they're very dry and they're just very, I don't know the word, they're very dry. They lack personality. And it's kind of intentional, let me say. And the reason why I say that it's kind of intentional is because like I feel like I've kind of like told myself that I have an image of what I ought to look like. So I have to be very prim and very proper. I have to like come off as like professional, and all those things, but that's not who I am. Like, if you know me as a person, I'm like, this professionalism, this is me. We're not like, I'm not naturally professional. I'm prim and proper. That's not it. That's not my vibe. So I'm very chill, very relaxed. I'm very, yeah, let's just vibe. It is what it is. That's my vibe, okay? That's my natural vibe. So, but then when I'm coming in front of the camera, because also one thing is because I'm also not yet, I don't gravitate towards the camera. So, that plus the fact that I want to come off very, professional. Personality lacks in the videos, like naturally. And so I was kept telling myself, like, I want to be a little bit more personable in front of the camera. I want to be, but I just really like, kind of found it really hard. And I don't know if you guys will remember. I don't know if you guys remember, but I think I said it at the beginning of 2022. I just felt like I wanted to be more like of a human being on like Wigs and Wisdom, because you guys, if you follow me on Instagram, you know that like all I do is I post a video, repost it to my story, and then I leave. Then I come back again, or people have commented and I respond to their comments, like their comments, and that's it. Like, I don't do anything. I don't show you people that I'm actually a human being. Like, I'm pretty sure some people think I'm a robot. I just show up, record video, off, and then go off. Like, so I just was like, what is this? Like, this is not life. So I started feeling like I needed to be a little bit more personable, but I didn't know how to go about it, or I didn't really have an idea. And let me say this. So when you think about content creators, and I don't like that tag. I don't like that content creator tag. I don't like it. I don't know why. For me, I find it very cliche. I do appreciate the art. I do appreciate the people that do it. It's not an easy thing, though. Like, anything is not easy at all. And I really appreciate people who do it. But like I said, I don't really like the tag, or let me rather say, like, I don't feel like the tag fits me. Because when I think about me, I'm like, naturally, I don't go outside of my house. I only go to school. I come back home and I stay on my laptop and do whatever. So I'm like, I can't pick up this content creating life. It's not something, because for me to do it, I would have to like ultimately change as a person. So I'm like, it's not a tag that fits me. So when people are like, preachers, like, if you want to kind of give Wigs and Wisdom a tag, I don't really have a name, or I can't call it content creating, because for me, I'm just like, I don't, I don't know. But anyway, so let me wrap up the story. But anyway, started having this internal battle that like there is more, and part of that more inquires that I need to step out of my comfort zone a little bit more. Now, so in the process of this, like, pondering, praying, and processing like what I ought to do, where like Wigs and Wisdom was concerned, and what God really wanted to do in that day, like, or a particular time in December of 2022, the Lord reminded me of something that I put down in my journal. I'm going to read it real quick. I'm going to read the entry word for word, so that you will not. Okay. Okay. Okay, so this entry was made in January. It was made on January 18th. What am I starting? January 18th of 2022, and it says, "Don't let your temperament stop you from doing what I called you to do." And the I in this statement is God. And when God brought the thing to my remembrance, I was like, interesting. Because like I said, I've had this internal battle, right? This internal battle, like, I'm not a content creator. I don't know how I'm going to do this thing. Just constantly fighting it. And it was very interesting to me when I stumbled upon that verse, that scripture, that Genesis 1:27 that I just read for you guys. And it was a reminder, so to say, that one, I have a creative bone in me. I have a creative spirit inside of me. All I have to do is tap into it. And I'm not lead creator, I'm co-creator. The lead creator is my Father. I submit to him, right? And I co-create with him. Two things there. One, it took off the pressure from me that I must be it took off pressure that I must be perfect, I must have everything figured out, I must, do all these things. It took off that pressure. Two, what it did for me too was made me realize that I don't have to fit into the mold of what content creation kind of looks like, if that makes sense. Yes, it's fantastic, it's great stuff. I can appreciate the content, I can appreciate the art, but I am a creative in my own right, and that looks different for every one of us. And so when I came into that understanding, I came into that, accepted it. I said, Lord, I don't know what we're doing again, but I've always said yes, and I've done everything scared, and I will do this one scared, and I will continue doing it. So all this to tell you is that Wigs and Wisdom is currently no longer. I know it's kind of sad. I introduced to you the Loved Creative. So just a little bit of a background. I already told you where that creative came from, because I am co-creator with Christ. I have a creative spirit inside of me, so I am a creative. But the loved part came from the fact that I acknowledge the fact that God is my Father. He loves me, and His love is what sustains me and helps me. So it's also a reminder to myself that when I create content, I create it to express and to it's a reminder to myself that the likes, the views, all the stuff, like, they're great stuff, but at the end of the day, what really matters is that stamp of approval from one person, and that is God, my Father. So yes, the Loved Creative, that is me, and my name is Anuru Akwa, and I'm really excited for what God is going to do through the Loved Creative. I do want to say that nothing is changing in terms of does this now mean that we're not going to see faith content? No, that's not what that means. It is still going to be very, very faith centric. I don't have a full picture of everything, but just know that there are going to be changes, yeah, but it's going to be still very much the core and the mission, which is always to make Christ known, to express His love everywhere, is still very much valid and still very much there. So yeah, I'm excited. I hope you guys are too. So yeah, cheers to the new year and cheers to new beginnings. Bye bye.